Hi, I'm Patrick, and this is the Mach-E vlog. But today we're not going to talk about the Mustang Mach-E. We're going to talk about the price drops with the Ford F-150 Lightning. So let's go. So this morning, it's July 17th, 2023. I woke up and I saw the news that Ford has dropped the price on their F-150 Lightning line. So I just wanted to make sure you guys know the date. Things may change from the time that you see this, from the time that I filmed it, but we're trying to get this out today. But this is great news. When the Lightning first came out, it started just under $40,000, and then because of a lot of different things, supply chain issues, and especially battery costs, those prices have gone up significantly. And now it's sort of like, things are a little bit better supply. There's more competition, you could say. So one of the other things that Ford has done is they've increased the production of the F-150 Lightning. All of those factors have contributed to the price going up, and now they're going back down by up to $10,000. So let's dive right into the first big part of this, which is the actual prices of the different models of the F-150 Lightning. So first of all, with the Pro, that's the one that's like the work truck. It's only available right now. If you go to a dealer, you can't order this one online. Very limited supply. That's the one that started at under $40,000 previously, but the price increase got it up to $59,974. The price on that has been dropped nearly $10,000. This is the biggest price cut. It's now back under $50,000, so it's $49,995. That's huge for anybody that's looking at buying a Pro for their fleet work type vehicle. The next up is XLT, and I'll just say, we'll get into the differences in the trim levels after I hit the pricing. But with the XLT, that was $64,474 yesterday. That's dropped almost $10,000 as well. It's now down to $54,995, so just under $55,000. The XLT extended range was $78,874, and that's now down to $69,995. Not quite as much of a price drop, still close to $9,000, but under $70,000. That's a key number. And then next up is the Lariat. We're going up in trim levels. That one was $76,974. It's now also $69,995. That's the standard range version. So, the XLT extended range doesn't necessarily have as many features, but it has the extended range battery compared to the Lariat standard range, but they're the same price. That price cut was nearly $7,000. The Lariat extended range has a lot more features. It also has extended range battery. It was $85,974. It's now $77,495, a price difference of almost $8,500. And that one is really key because a lot of people wanted to step up to the Lariat trim level, and they wanted an extended range battery, but they also wanted a federal tax credit. That was not possible yesterday. It will be possible starting today. So the price cut really affects that. I think Ford was selling a lot of XLT extended ranges because people, they wanted the features and the extended range. If they had to sacrifice one or the other, they sacrificed some features and went the XLT extended range. So it's really great to see the Lariat now with the extended range qualifying for the tax credit. And then of course the Platinum, the most expensive, the one that's fully decked out, it was $98,074. That's only dropped $6,000, or just over $6,000. It's down to $91,995. And of course, none of those are eligible for the federal tax credit. Now let's go ahead and dive into the individual models. We'll start with the Pro. The Pro, again, $49,995. That's your base trim. You'll notice on this picture, the light bar doesn't go across the front. That's how I recognize them when I'm seeing them out in the wild. And it's with the standard range battery pack available with extended range. It has the 2.4 kilowatt Pro Power on board, Copilot 360 2.0, has the Mega Power Frunk, 230 miles of range, Sync 4. It has the vinyl seating and only the 12-inch screen in the center console or center of the truck. Basically your base model. So it doesn't have a ton of features, but a lot of people that are looking for a work truck love this thing. And I know I just spoke to somebody last week. He has a Pro and absolutely loves it and uses it for his family. His kids love it. It's a fantastic vehicle and was a fantastic value at the original price. And now that we're getting it back down to like under $50,000, I think it's a great value again. Next up, the XLT. Few more features now up to starting at $55,000 on up to $70,000 with the extended range, and has standard, of course, is the standard range. You can add that extended range like I just mentioned. Changes to the grille, has a signature front lighting, which means the light bar, cloth seating, extended running board, zone lighting, the 360 camera, the interior work surface, that's the center console. Like if you fold it out, it can basically you can have like a little mini desk in the truck. And you can also upgrade to the 9.6 kilowatt Pro Power onboard and Ford Copilot 360 2.0. The Lariat, I think, was very popular with Lightning fans and Lightning purchasers until the tax credit sort of like chopped off some of their sales because it was over $80,000 for the extended range version. So really nice to see this back in the mix. And again, starting at about $70,000, the extended range is $77,500. Let's go on to what features it has. So of course, this adds more features as we go up. It has a different grille, different wheels, leather trimmed, heated and ventilated seating, the power tailgate, so you don't just like unlatch it and let it fall down. You can open and close it with a remote or the button. Sync 4A, now you have the enhanced version of Sync plus the 15.5-inch touchscreen in the middle. It's the same size screen as in the Mach-E with the dial on the screen. A lot nicer experience if you do a lot of stuff with the center screen. Comes standard with a 9.6 kilowatt Pro Power on board. It also has available options. So like, again, you can get the extended range battery, but you also have the option to get not the glass roof, but like a twin panel moonroof, which is still pretty expansive, and Ford Copilot 360 Active 2.0. And then finally, we have the Platinum. And this is the nicest Lightning that you can buy. And I think if you're in this category of looking at it, you're probably not worried about the tax credit because you can't get it. I think a lot of people really like this trim level, but they won't go for it because the unavailability of the tax credit. But let's see what features this has. It's $92,000. And again, slight changes with the grille, bigger wheels. They have some, painted little differences, like with the painted pockets. I don't even know what that is. Heated and ventilated Nirvana leather seating. Very nice looking leather. I wonder about the durability, but it almost looks like something that you would find in your living room. By default, it comes with the extended range battery. Comes standard with the B&O sound system, which is an option, I believe, on the other trims. And Ford Copilot 360 Active 2.0. And comes standard with the twin panel moonroof. So some of those features that you can add to the Lariat, they come by default on the Platinum. Some of those features, if you add it to the Lariat, will bump it out of the price range for getting the tax credit. Just want to mention some additional info that Ford talked about in their press release today. They're now saying they're up to making 150,000 Lightnings per year. They've increased that. I believe that the original estimate last year was like they were going to be making about 40,000 trucks. They doubled that to 80,000 trucks, and now they've almost doubled it again. It's up to 150,000 trucks. And I believe, if I remember what I said, read in the press release, they've actually shut down the factory because they're doing some reconfiguration so that they can hit that 150,000. Very short shutdown, just, they need to make some offline changes so that they can get online and make that production happen. I also saw, and I have to confirm this, before you run out to your dealer or go to Ford.com, you might want to double check. I saw it on Electric, I believe, that from now, July 17th until July 31st, 2023, there's an additional $1,000 incentive if you do the like build to order Lightning, you know, on the website or with the dealer. So you create it custom to match your needs, not buying it off the lot. So they're trying to get people to place their orders. And that's sort of also significant because up until recently, you had to have one of the original Lightning reservations before you were invited to place your order. Now anybody can just go online and place an order. So I think that's part of what they're doing here is they're trying to get the word out. There was a lot of, you know, if you want a Lightning, you got to get in line. It's going to take forever to get it, or you go to a dealer and have to worry about like negotiating a price. But now it looks like you could just go online, put in your order, wait until it's produced, shipped to you, and then you'll have your Lightning. No more of this waiting for your dealer to invite you to order. So very cool. As I mentioned several times, the models under $80,000 still qualify for the $7,500 federal tax credit. There's also a lot of other local incentives and credits that are out there. Here in California, Colorado has just introduced some new ones. I believe Colorado is now up to $5,000. Makes me want to go buy a car there, but you can't actually do that legally. So, but anyways, yeah, some very good local incentives that could stack on top of that $7,500. And some of these tax credits are available for all EVs. Some have other limitations, like the $7,500 one is very complex. You need to check each individual truck or car that you're looking at to see if it qualifies. And there's also some like income limitations as well. So, you know, that's a whole other video, but do your research if you're looking at the Lightning or other EVs that you're going to be comparing it to. I did want to, you know, make a short slide here, sort of filled with a lot of data. I might make this into a full video and sort of go into like Ford's EV transition plan and what they're actually doing. They are a legacy auto manufacturer, as you guys all know, and it's very hard for them to sort of just, you know, flip a switch and all of a sudden just make EVs. There's going to be a transition period. It's going to be very costly. It's very risky for them to do all of this. It's risky if they don't do it. But I think it's essential that they do this. And it looks like they are, you know, in my opinion, one of the leaders of the legacy auto manufacturers that are really going full bore and getting vehicles out the door and getting factories built. So let's go over some of this stuff. If there's interest, I'll do a deep dive video into all of this stuff. But first of all, they're investing about $50 billion around the world in their various Ford divisions in the US and Europe and elsewhere to enable this transition to making EVs. They just announced the Ford Explorer in Europe, for example, so that's a big investment that they're making over there, and that's coming to production pretty soon, and they have a design center in Europe as well. As I mentioned previously, they're going to be making 150,000 Lightnings once the factory is back up and running again per year. Run rate basically is like if you know, everything goes as planned, how many Lightnings can you make in a year or whatever vehicle. So they're going to be making 150,000 Lightnings per year. The Mach-E, same thing. They shut down the factory. It's back open again. And their target by the end of this year is to hit 210,000 Mach-E's made per year, or run rate as we call it. So between the two, that's pretty impressive. 360,000 EVs that Ford will be able to make per year just on those two vehicles, not counting the E-Transit and like the other vehicles like the Ford Explorer in Europe that's going to be coming out relatively soon. All of these investments, the goal is to reach 2 million EVs run rate per year by Ford by 2026. That's a huge reach for Ford. Hopefully that all plays out and they can do that. We need that for the company as well as the environment for that to happen. It's going to be very hard for them. There's a lot of obstacles in getting all of this done, but you know, they're investing $50 billion, so hopefully this will all work out. They have EV plants right now in Mexico and Michigan. The one in Mexico is the one that builds the Mach-E. The Michigan one, of course, builds the F-150 Lightning. Those are online and pumping out, as you can see, a lot of vehicles. They are also building Blue Oval City in Tennessee, Western Tennessee. This is a huge undertaking. I didn't write down a number, but I think it's a $5.6 billion plant. It's going to be an EV assembly place. They're going to have battery production on, or battery assembly on site. They're also going to do battery recycling on site. So right now, of course, there won't be a ton of batteries to recycle, but they're going to develop the technology, perfect the technology, and eventually when we need to do battery recycling, it'll be there and online. Huge facility, huge win for West Tennessee. Kudos to them for working with Ford to bring that there. And I believe, again, I didn't write down all the numbers, but I think it's like their largest new factory in decades. So it is a whole complex, which is why they're calling it a city. In addition to that, they're building 2 battery plants in Kentucky, and the combined total, they're going to have 180 gigawatt hours of production. That's a huge number. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's also in conjunction with SK. So it's like Blue Oval SK is the sort of like joint venture building those. Very big numbers coming out of the Kentucky plants, and very good to see. They're also working with CATL to build a battery plant in Michigan. This one is still has a little bit further to go. I think they're still just like in the not approval stage, the permitting stage, excuse me, with the state of Michigan and local authorities to get this up and running. But that one's going to produce 40 gigawatt hours, so another battery plant. Very positive to see that. And they are converting some of their existing facilities. So the Ohio assembly plant is going to be made to produce EVs. There's some speculation, this is not from Ford, but there's speculation that the US version of the Ford Explorer will be made there. And it won't be the same one that they're making in Europe. That's a small Explorer. They're gonna make a typical 3-row Explorer. And that's where the rumor is that it can be made in the Ohio assembly plant. And then Oakville, Ontario is also going to be converted to make EVs as well. And of course, these are, some of those are like rumors as far as like what's going to be built at each one. Ford is not saying a lot. They do say that the next generation truck is going to be built in Blue Oval City. No name for it. They say it's sort of like the successor to the Lightning, but they didn't call it like the F-150 Lightning II. They're calling it T3, which internal to Ford, the employees are calling it Trust the Truck. Apparently they're going to take a lot of liberties with what a truck means, what an electric vehicle means, and sort of do some out of the box thinking. And that's why they're saying just trust the truck. They're building some, I guess you could say, revolutionary product. Who knows? A lot to be determined with that. And as I mentioned, in Europe, they've announced the Explorer, but they're also, electrifying some of their other product lines. The Puma is one that I'm really excited to see, and there's no details on it yet, but apparently that one's going to be an EV in the future as well. So a lot of exciting things happening in Europe, a lot of exciting things happening in the US, and even in China. There's a Mach-E plant in China, not making a ton of Mach-Es for that market, but they are, showing that they have this global presence. So very cool to see them doing this push globally, and can't wait to see what comes of all of this. Now you might be thinking, well, there's the Lightning, but there is a lot of other competition. So let's start looking just at what might be competitive with the Lightning and see how these prices stack up against them. And of course, the other sort of mass market truck right now that's out there is the Rivian R1T. And it's not quite as big as the Lightning, but it has some other pros to that some people really love. It's really a great off-road vehicle. The Lightning isn't really set for doing off-roading. It has some unique features like a gear tunnel where you can store stuff. So very cool to see the R1T out there. I love the look of it. It's a bit quirky in design, but very successful so far. It starts at $73,000 for the 270-mile dual motor version, but goes all the way up to $94,000 for the 400-mile performance dual motor version. They also have a quad motor version that's 328 miles for $87,000. And within the R1T, it's sort of like the biggest difference in your price is like whether you have dual performance or quad motors, and then do you, what battery size do you have? So they have like a regular pack and then a larger and a really large pack. So that's what affects your prices with the R1T. And then of course you have some slight differences with stuff like some of your accessories or paint colors. But this is sort of gives you an idea of the pricing that's out there for that. So now with the Lightning price drops, I think it becomes more interesting for people that are potentially comparing the two vehicles, even though they are quite a bit different. R1T doesn't really have like a work truck. So even though that the Lightning is, back down with that $50,000 mark, the cheapest R1T at $73,000, they're not really comparable vehicles. I don't think a ton of people are buying the R1T to be a work truck. But if you start getting up with like the Lariat and things like that, then you may see some sort of like cross shopping that people are doing. So that's the Rivian R1T. If you haven't seen those on the road, hopefully you will soon. They're making a decent number of those. Next up is the Silverado EV. This is just getting into production. We didn't go to it, but a lot of other people like Tom Malogny and Kyle Connor, they got to go and check it out, do some testing with it in a limited fashion. It was a press drive or whatever, but they got to check out the 4WT, which is their sort of higher end work truck. It's already in production. It's $79,800, and it has a 450 mile range. So it is a bit pricier than the Lightning, but it also has that 450 mile range, and it should have faster charging. So there's some wins for it on that front, but it is quite a bit more expensive. And we'll see if GM does anything with their pricing as they ramp up production. They're gonna have a cheaper work truck, the 3WT. That one is just under $75,000. Supposedly that one will be out within a couple of months. It won't have quite as big of a battery. It'll be between 350 and 400 miles of range on that one. So now you're getting back down a little bit closer to what the Lightning offers, but it still will have some faster charging. So again, if you need to do towing, if you need the extra range, even though it's pricier, it may be appealing to you. And then of course the Silverado RST, that's coming out this fall. This is their first consumer version of the Silverado, and it has a sort of unconsumer friendly price of nearly $107,000. Super expensive. It's almost comparable at that point to like the Hummer, which I didn't include in this presentation, but very, very pricey, lots of features. But you can see now, like if you compare that to the Lightning, it's quite a bit more expensive than even the Platinum Lightning. Yes, it will have further range, faster charging, but I think the other features are going to be very similar to what the Lightning offers. And if you're willing to pay for it, it might be worth it for you. But a lot of people are going to, I think, steer toward the Lightning just based on that price. Do want to mention, of course, the big elephant in the room. That's the Cybertruck. I'm sure you've seen tons of pictures of the Cybertruck. This one is really cool because this is the first Cybertruck that rolled off the line late last week down in the Giga Texas plant in Austin. So Tesla's very excited. This is the first one that's actually off the production line, not a prototype that was like hand built. So this is from the production line in Austin. Super cool to see this, but we still don't know the exact pricing, range, other specs. We don't know exactly when they're going to be delivered to customers. All of that is still up in the air. They announced prices, but that's been like 4 years ago. And then they took a lot of the specs and range and stuff like that away. So we don't know what is actually going to make it into production, but we're getting closer and closer. They have a earnings call this Wednesday that would be the 19th. So stay tuned. There's some speculation that maybe they'll release some details about the Cybertruck at that time, which would be really cool to see. But yeah, very cool to see the Cybertruck actually getting, rolling down an assembly line, and can't wait to see when those actually are on the street and we get more details. Now, the final one I'm going to mention is the Ram 1500 Rev, which is scheduled for production in 2025. And I put the picture really small because that's so far in the future, it's very hard to see the details on the picture or with this truck. Sorry, bad dad joke, right? Anyways, there's been talk about what the pricing may be, what the range may be. They've thrown out some numbers themselves. I just think it's way too early. We're in 2023 to be talking about a truck that's going to, I mean, sure, it may come out fall of next year as a 2025 model, but too early to really speculate. There's going to be a lot of different pricing pressures on them to be competitive. I'm sure they will be, but just a bit too early. So I think that's about it. That's all that I have time for. I'm like ran out here on my lunch break to make this video. Try to keep you up to date. If you have any questions, please drop them below. If you have any corrections to any of the slides, I noticed as I was going through, I had some typos even, so I got to go fix those before I upload the video. But just let me know. I'll add the information to the description so that everybody else can get the updated info. And yeah, tell me what you think about the pricing. Does this make the Lightning more appealing? Does it make you more excited because the Cybertruck is getting closer? Or are you like a Chevy GM fan and waiting for the Silverado? Very interested to see what you guys think and what you guys are hoping for to see from some of these future electric trucks. I also want to thank you for watching the whole video. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, hit the bell notification so that you get notified of all of our videos, whether it's on the Mach-E, the Lightning, or non-Ford EV products. We just got a e-bike that's over here out of the way that you can't see, but we're going to do a review on that. So we're doing all electric vehicles from bikes to cars to trucks. And we also, of course, we always thank our patron members on Patreon, the Unbridled and the Engaged and the Whisper patrons. You guys are all fantastic. We're going to scroll their names across the bottom because without them, we're unable to do some of the cool things that we do for everybody out there. So big thanks to them and big thanks to you for sticking around. I know I'm rambling because I'm trying to think of what Liv would say. And I think she would say, just remember, whatever you drive, whether it's a Mach-E, a Lightning, or any EV, that's pretty lame. Anyways, that's why I need her back in the video. Enjoy the ride. Bye.